Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay, hello there everybody, this is MartaVivian13 here, and welcome to another segment on what I like to call Randomness Day. In case that you all don't know, it is indeed, in some way or form, an experimental live stream series where I would look up things over the internet at completely random. Like yesterday was about manual to automatic transmission, even though I am a fan of manual transmission, so so yeah. How's it going, Epic? Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today, Epic? And today we're gonna do a whole things about coffee. And I already put the poll should be coming up about what if you all like coffee or something like that. But anyways, let's have ourselves some fun. And let's go ahead and watch why Starbucks fail in Australia. Alright, this is gonna be quite hilarious. I gotta love CNBC for doing this. Like, we watched the one about the automatic transmission yesterday, which was pretty funny, but still, I've had my coffee and I'm ready to go.
These are challenging times for everyone, but caring hasn't stopped.
Alright, just in case you want to know.
At Novo Nordisk, diabetes care won't stop, because it can't.
Alright.
We're working hard to...
Starbucks has coffee shops all over the world. There are more than 28,000 locations in 76 markets, from Shanghai to Guantanamo Bay. And in China, a new Starbucks location opens up every 15 hours. But there is one continent that seems uninterested in the hype over the Seattle-based coffee chain. And that continent is Australia. It's proven to be one of the toughest markets in the world to break into. So tough, in fact, that Starbucks closed more than 2/3 of its stores on the continent back in 2008. So what went so wrong with Starbucks in Australia? To answer that, let's go back to July of 2000, when Starbucks opened its first Australian shop in Sydney. From there, it expanded fast. By 2008, Starbucks had 87 stores across the continent.
I think one of the problems for Starbucks, and it's true.
Okay, I do believe that is indeed one of the issues. Starbucks expanded too quickly.
For a lot of businesses that have been successful in one country, is that they thought that their business model could just roll out to a different environment, and there was no need for them to adjust.
I don't think I've ever had Starbucks.
But that was the problem. It tried to grow the empire too fast. Starbucks rapidly opened up multiple locations instead of slowly integrating them into the Australian market.
Yeah, see,
when they
opened up too fast.
Too rapidly and didn't give the Australian consumer an opportunity to really develop an appetite for the Starbucks brand. They also moved into regional areas, into outer suburbs of major cities. And so for the Australian consumer, it was almost like it was too available for them. And so there wasn't this point of difference, this want, this need for Starbucks, and it wasn't an organic growth, which is what we very much saw
Exactly,
in the US.
Yeah.
In its first 7 years in Australia, Starbucks accumulated $105 million in losses.
Holy
By 2007,
$105 million in losses. Good gosh.
Starbucks Australia was hanging on by a thread, taking big loans from the US, totaling up to $54 million. And in 2000...
Okay, so in order to keep their stores open in Australia, that they would have to go to the US government or US banks and stuff like that to get loans that are up to $54 million.
2008, Starbucks announced it was shutting down 61 stores. But of course, 2008 was a difficult time for businesses due to the financial crisis. Along with the Australia closures, Starbucks also closed 600 underperforming American stores. But even still, such a retreat in Australia was embarrassing for the brand.
When you're shutting down 75 stores, for the Australian consumer, when they did leave the market, or at least a large number of their stores were shut down,
on what they
didn't
got,
really care.
on what they lost.
It's partly because Australians are spoiled for choice when it comes to coffee. Australia's coffee market is one of the biggest in the world. The industry is expected to hit more than $6 billion in total revenue in 2018. They've been immersed in nuances of cafe culture since the mid-1900s, when Italian and Greek immigrants began traveling to the country. The immigrants introduced Australians to espresso. By the 1980s,
Yeah.
Australians were fully engulfed in cafe culture. They've also grown accustomed to specialty menu items, like a flat white or an Australian macchiato.
Man, I could definitely live off of their losses, yeah. Okay. What is the difference? Unless it's the shade of brown? Or maybe even the white stuff, it's just a cream? I don't get it. It still technically looks the same.
So cafes in Australia were born out of like the Italian culture of, meeting a friend and knowing your local barista.
You get a
and it
cannoli
being
while you're
kind of
there.
like a local meeting place where everyone knew each other, and that coffee was just a part of that. And then Starbucks came in with what is more of an American style like coffee culture, which is essentially just like coffee as a product, coffee as a commodity, coffee.
Too fancy for me. Yeah, me too, FF. And judging by this, it seems that Starbucks failed in Australia because it how do am I supposed to say it? They think possibly that since Americans like Starbucks, that they think that since Americans like Starbucks, that Australians would like Starbucks.
Coffee is like perk me up in the morning. It's caffeination.
Starbucks had a basic menu and offered more sugary drinks, which most Australians didn't like.
In Australia,
Yeah, I've been doing some research about some Australian laws. There's actually laws in Australia, if I am indeed correct. If anyone in Australia can tell me, please do so in the chat, since I am not exactly sure. I've been reading, but I don't even know if it's a real thing. Is that there's actually, if I am indeed correct, there is laws in Australia that has sugar requirements. Like, if it goes above a certain amount of sugar and stuff like that, then you would just not, then they would just ban it, possibly. I don't even know if that's true or not. It is just from what I have been doing my research on.
where local tastes are different, so we don't really want a coffee that's hundreds of ounces with lots of sugar in it. We want something a bit more sophisticated.
Plus, Starbucks charged more than local cafes. So Australians instead opted to pay less for coffee they like.
Yep, see? Even they say that that Starbucks is expensive over there too. They feel because Australians are far too manly for whooshy fancy coffee. Oh, you got that right, FF.
Liked from a local barista they trusted.
And so when you come in with this big like, hey, we're going to open all these cafes and they're all going to be to-go focused, it just was the complete wrong market for what the Australian was used to.
But there's one American coffee company that's thriving in Australia. Founded in Chicago and now based in Australia, Gloria Jean's got the traction in Australia that Starbucks couldn't. Gloria Jean's has more than 400 Australian locations and serves more than 35 million consumers in Australia each year. So what is Gloria Jean's doing in Australia that Starbucks isn't? Well, the company attributes its success to two Australians who franchised the business in their home country. Shops started to show up in Australia in 1996. Fast forward to today.
Okay, even the women. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, Folgers. I've been hearing that's a good coffee. I never exactly had Folgers, but I smelled Folgers before. And it smelled pretty darn good. Okay. And also, from what it looks like here, this place called Gloria Jeans, I can only assume that they hire people from Australia when they branch out and stuff like that. That way they can get an idea on how to appeal to their consumer base. Which I guess it would have to make sense in a way, because how else are you supposed to get into a market? Technically what Starbucks did, from my opinion, they went in there blindfolded. Like, they think that one formula works for everyone. So Gloria Jeans decided to put some Australian taste by hiring people that are in Australia when they do the franchising out, so they would be able to understand the Australian market. That's just from my opinion. I am not an economic guy. Good old, reliable, cheap, and tasty coffee. Heck yeah.
The company has a presence in every Australian state. The reason? Its menu. The chain offers a wide variety of espresso drinks and specialty coffee. Failing to adapt its menu to Australians' coffee culture proved to be a mistake for Starbucks. And the company faces another challenge later this year: Italy. Starbucks is opening its first store in Milan in late 2018. Home of the espresso, Italy is rich in cafe culture. But according to Starbucks, it's not going to make the same mistakes that it did in Australia. The company said that it would develop in Italy with humility and respect for its coffee culture. It announced it would be opening a roastery, which is not your average cafe. It gives customers a chance to see coffee beans roasted and processed.
Okay, same thing. It's just like how it is in, I live in Pennsylvania, which I am pretty darn close to the Hershey's Milk Chocolate Factory. And there is indeed a little ride that you can go into when you go into the factory. There's definitely a little ride, and then that ride would take you through the factory, so you'll be able to see how the chocolate is being made and stuff like that, which is pretty darn cool. I'll show you all that. I'll show you all that video very soon. Homemade coffee is 25 to 50 cents a cup. McDonald's or 7-Eleven is a huge cup for $1. Starbucks is about $5. Yeah, I guess I want to understand, but those Starbucks drinks are like freaking this. But yeah, you're right about that, Ed. Cheap, tasty coffee for the win. And I'll go ahead and show you all that video about the Hershey's Milk Chocolate Factory, so you get an idea of what they're doing. Which is pretty darn cool to see how the coffee is being roasted and being made and stuff like that
Before their eyes, so there's a chance that it won't struggle like it did in Australia. But Starbucks isn't admitting defeat in Australia either. Starbucks is staging a comeback on the continent. In 2014, Starbucks locations in Australia were purchased by the Mount Waverly-based Withers Group. Starbucks told CNBC that since its sale to the Withers Group, the company learned a lot. So this time, it's taking a different approach to putting Starbucks on the continent.
So if you just think about Australia's a big tourism destination, there's a lot of US and...
Okay, coffee is Poga. Zog Juice OFC. Oh man, I am not used to hip words. Okay, let's see. Let's look at what Paga is. Paga, here you go. Paga, a word of no definite meaning, formed by combining two words of no definite meaning. Ponia, and bugga, that create an inexplicable definition of black hole. Therefore, it can be used in infinite ways in the English language, whose meaning can only be defined by a given implication. Okay, I'll scroll down. both sidism, when a person tries to make you believe that both sides are equally responsible for something that even though one is really clearly at fault. Okay, so that must not be it. Okay. Poga meaning is to catch or take something from, and the definition of poga is a word that expresses action or a state of being. Poga vary a type, and each type is determined by the kinds of words that accompany it in a jeez, freaking scientific word. Pog. Okay, try searching pog. Okay, try searching pog. Okay. Okay, pog definition. Okay. Pog is the root word. Okay, so pog. A cardboard or a plastic disc printed with a design or a picture, collected or swapped by children, or used in games. Okay, pog is an emote found on Twitch TV, often used when a streamer does something cool. Okay, so I guess in a way that doing things about coffee is cool. This emote can only be seen if you have the Chrome extension BTTV, Better Twitch TV, and FFZ, Franker Face Z installed. It is a variation of the emote PogChamp, but it's only the mouth. People other than grunts, the U.S. Army infantry, permanently on the ground, U.S. Air Force and aviation. Okay, I'm not so sure on the word. Okay, so this Twitch one. So you're saying about me doing the for me doing the coffee thing that you're thinking that I'm doing something cool. Okay, so Chubby Fondue says coffee is poga, which he says coffee is cool. Okay. And what in the world is Zog juice? Okay, Zog juice. Zog. Cafe Zog. How about some refreshing juice taste? Cafe Zog. Zog definition. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, Zog 1. Pre-name of Ahmed Bey Zuki, king of the Albanians. No, I don't think that's the one that we want. Okay. I am not sure. Zog is like the government. The puppet master. Oh, okay. I understand now. Okay. So I guess I've been reading that some people think that coffee is indeed the drink that can that makes the government to do mind manipulation. But that's just a conspiracy theory. Oh, because everyone drinks it. So when I say Zog juice, it's like puppets drink. Ah. to control the worker or to work more. I don't exactly know, Ebib. It was just a conspiracy theory from what I read a long time ago, that people think that drinking coffee could produce mind manipulation to make them work more. Zob juice is for a caffeinated drink. Ah, energy drinks.
Chinese tourists, Starbucks have been very successful in China, and it makes a lot of sense for them to build out because there are people looking for something that's familiar to them.
Now with 39 locations in Brisbane, Melbourne, the Gold Coast, and Sydney areas, this time it's not looking to appeal to Australians. But instead, the coffee giant hopes to be a familiar face for tourists visiting popular vacation destinations in Australia.
Australia's always been a high volume.
Okay, so this thing, so that little segment that guy said, it seems that Starbucks only, it looks like that since Starbucks cannot appeal to Australians in general, so it looks like that Starbucks in Australia would try to appeal to tourists that may or may not be native to Australia. So let's just say if I'm an American and I go down to Australia, since I'm not fully aware of any other native coffee joints, then I will normally look up a name that's familiar to me. So I would possibly go to Starbucks because I am morally familiar with their coffee and their services and stuff like that.
Tourist market. The same thing in terms of international students at our universities, potential opportunities for them. And we're starting to see Starbucks enter into some large shopping malls here in Australia as well.
Australia welcomed 9 million tourists from 2017 to 2018.
Okay, that reminds me. Give me a sec. I need to check something out. Let me see here. I think... okay. Okay, so it seems that my streaming software does not have a way for me to get emotes. Okay.
And those international visitors spent more than $30 billion in 2017 alone. So tourists could possibly be the key to keeping the company afloat and preventing another downfall.
Okay, that was cool. Vico din ketamine and caffeine is my breakfast treat. Coffee is good because cocaine is so expensive. I guess that's true. Okay, I guess I gotta take a look at this coffee. What the F word? The coffee is so thick that it has to be whisked? I gotta see this.
The new house is amazing.
I'll go ahead.
Never have
Okay.
a problem.
Okay, let me go to the notepad real quick. I'm putting links to, I'm gonna save the links that I'm gonna put into the, yeah, there you go. Okay, save it as links for, there we go.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and
Oh,
car insurance easy.
That was Alice
For bundling made easy, go.
That's Alice Cooper. That is effing mother effing Alice mother effing Cooper. Back in the day, back in the effing day, there was lines upon lines upon lines of people going to see an Alice Cooper concert. Man, those were the good old days where you could see like Aerosmith and Pearl Jam, Alice Cooper, Scorpions, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard. Man, those were the days.
Go to geico.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be making a whipped coffee drink. I got this idea from
Holy
a YouTube recommendations
shnikes!
page this
Look
morning.
how
It
thick
comes
that
from a
is.
YouTuber that goes by the channel name Nino's Home. I will link the original recipe to this whipped coffee drink.
And I'll go ahead and link this video
If you are a
to the
coffee lover,
description,
this is probably something
in the
that you might
description of
wanna
the
try.
stream
It's very easy to make,
after I get
and
done with the
know
stream.
It's going to be delicious. So here's how I do it.
I think that was Stephen Piercy. I guess it could be him, but to me it looked like Alice Cooper.
In the recipe, you'll want to use instant coffee and some sugar. I'm using monk fruit sweetener, and I'm going to see if I can get 2 tablespoons.
Once again, I'm going to go ahead and put the link to this video down in the description or in the comment section when I get done with the stream.
Yeah, I think 4.
Yeah, you're right.
packets
Yeah, you're right, Chubby.
2 tablespoons.
I must have been reminiscing in the old days.
Okay, yeah, I think it'll work. Now you'll need some hot water. Let me turn on my...
Yeah, they look alike though, yeah.
Now you're going to whisk.
I would definitely freak out if that was Alice Cooper though.
This is so cool.
Oh,
So I'm...
instant coffee, you dang pleb. Yeah, darn pleb. Just look how thick that is. That is a mother effing thick coffee. The bottom part of the coffee must also be thick.
I'm actually not going to use this entire thing in one drink.
That can actually be like some kind of frosting on a cake.
I'm going to make a hot cup and an iced cold cup. If you look at the original recipe, by the way, I will link that in the description below. And they use it in an iced coffee milk.
Oh, you like
drink. I'm
Alice
gonna
Cooper?
split
You've
this
seen
in
him
half
twice?
and
Heck
share
yeah.
the caloric intake here. Okay, so here, this is probably a cup, maybe a little less than 8 ounces. Let's say 6 to 8 ounces of warm milk. I'm using skim milk. And it's so pretty.
Holy
I love
shnikes, it got even more thick.
So I'm going to take half of it.
As it sets, it gets even more thick. That top part there is so thick that the milk just sets it on there. Okay, that's incredible. I have never seen coffee this thick in my entire life.
Here we go. So, you probably could stir it around just a little to get it going. So I thought this was a really cool idea. So let's try it with the iced milk. Okay, so here it is.
That's an effing mason jar. That is a totally effing mason jar. There was a thing, if I am indeed correct, back in the day, mason jars used to be a thing because of how mason jars was used during the times of prohibition, where moonshiners can possibly use I think moonshiners use mason jars too, but a lot of people do in fact drink their beers out of a mason jar because it tastes quite different than drinking from a glass bottle from what I heard. I don't know if it's a fact. If anyone out there drinks beer from a mason jar, please let me know.
You can see the coffee foam on top, and then the ice cold milk on the bottom, and then you just kind of stir it. Gosh, I love that sound.
I like that sound too.
Okay, so here's the drink. I mixed it a lot. And honestly, I think when I whipped it, I didn't whip it.
I was gonna mention moonshine. Heck yeah.
Completely to the stiff peak stage. I kind of left it like in between. So I think that's probably why it kind of mixed really well. But here we go.
Once again, I'm going to put the description to this video in, I'm going to put the link to this video in the description or in the comment section.
But I have the recipe, like I used, basically I made a warm cup here and an iced cup. So it's not overly sweet and the coffee flavor is so good. So for all my coffee drinkers out there, I hope you give this recipe a try.
Whip it good.
Go check out the original recipe first. The video is really cool, and I thought the idea it was a good idea if you like coffee. So anyways, I will leave that recipe video link in the description below. Like I said earlier, go check it out, Nino's Home. But I hope you guys give this recipe a try. I hope you
Okay, that was a nice video. Matter of fact, I forgot. There we go. I forgot to give the video a like. There we go. That was cool. Okay, let's see. Why is Dunkin' taking on Starbucks and betting on coffee?
Dunkin' is placing a huge bet on coffee. When you walk into a Dunkin' today, you'll notice way more coffee options and far fewer donuts than you would have just a few years ago. And it's not just drip coffee.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely true. My Dunkin' Donuts where I live, they barely have any donuts. Well, they still got some donuts and some munchkins. In case that you all don't know what a munchkin is, it's just a very small round circle donut. Except it's just quite smaller. Bite-sized donuts, if you will.
Coffee on the menu anymore. There's everything from cinnamon sugar pumpkin lattes to culottes to premium espresso. At the chain's newest stores, you'll even find nitro cold brew on tap. It's all part of Dunkin's $100 million investment to refresh the brand and become a major.
Dunkin' coffee is at the grocery store. Yeah, that's true. That's what I have been trying to figure out. There's Dunkin' Donuts, like Starbucks coffee and Dunkin' Donuts coffee inside the grocery stores. So why bother opening up stores when there are people that can just buy the coffee and just brew it up themselves?
Major player in coffee. CEO David Hoffman believes espresso.
Oh, David Hoffman! Is this guy related to Matt Hoffman? Okay, let me see. Yeah, here we go. Matt Hoffman. Matt Hoffman is an American BMX rider who was considered one of the best vert ramp riders in history of the sport. He is nicknamed the Condor and rides a BMX freestyle brand Hoffman BMX bikes based out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So, could that CEO really be related to that guy? That would have been so awesome.
fueling the company's long-term growth.
Yeah. So why bother? I know, Matt. Yeah, me and you both, Epic. We're definitely that old.
The aggressive push into beverages comes at a time when the coffee wars are heating up. Competitors like McDonald's are...
Coffee wars are definitely perking up. And what I mean by perking up, I mean coffee. Okay, Barty Rick says, Mario, can you shout out my man Branson? Oh, shout out to Branson. Shout out to Barty Rick's man Branson.
Slashing prices through deals, while coffee giant Starbucks is taking bets on more expensive drinks, a revamped loyalty program, and delivery. But Dunkin's rebrand strategy encompasses more than just coffee. The company also wants to aggressively expand across the country and revamp its restaurants with new technology. The chain changed its name, simplified its menu, and started rolling out new store designs. It got a new CEO and made some changes to leadership at the top.
It is him! Holy... Okay. I can possibly say, I can definitely say, without a doubt, I don't know if it's a fact or not, but the name is definitely similar. Just get rid of one N, and there you go. You got the freaking brother, or the uncle, or dad, or something like that of the most awesomest BMX rider ever.
Dunkin' needs this strategy to work. Traffic in stores has slowed, and annual comparable store sales at Dunkin' took a 1% dip in 2017. While slow traffic and lagging same-store sales aren't unique to Dunkin', they are dialing up pressure on the chain. So will that $100 million investment be enough to fuel Dunkin's move into the big leagues with McDonald's and Starbucks?
Okay. Shout out. Yeah, it looks like him. Exactly. Yeah, it definitely does. He definitely does look a lot like him.
Or will the hit to profits just cost the company in the end?
So he could be a brother, maybe.
Dunkin' got its start here in Quincy, Massachusetts. When Bill Rosenberg left school in the 8th grade, he dabbled in...
Okay, so the CEO of Dunkin' Donuts left school in the 8th grade. Then I guess...
in catering, but soon realized 40% of his revenue came from two simple products, coffee and pastry. In
yeah, coffee and donuts.
Rosenberg opened a restaurant that sold 5-cent donuts and 10-cent cups of coffee.
Holy
2 years
crap.
later, Rosenberg renamed
I would
the
love
restaurant
that.
Dunkin' Donuts. The restaurant was a hit. In 1955, the first Dunkin' Donuts franchise opened. That same year, the first McDonald's franchise opened too. By 1963, Dunkin' Donuts opened its 100th location.
This is one of the original publicly traded 100% franchise businesses. I mean, it's a true asset-light model versus, McDonald's is, trending.
Barty Rick says, hey man, you want to do a collaboration with Andy G, man? He could get your channel a lot of exposure. I'll think about it. I'm sorry, it is just due to the fact is that I haven't been collaborating with anyone in quite some time. I really gotta get used to being a collaborator, if you will.
Towards it's 92 or 93% franchised globally.
I'll think about it though.
Towards 95, and Wendy's is 95%, but they weren't there 5 years ago Whereas Dunkin', when it went public, I think in 2011, it was already 100% franchised, and it really built the appreciation for those types of businesses in the industry.
That growth model worked well for Dunkin'.
Okay, so it is saying that since Dunkin' Donuts is 100% franchised, which means that it is not a corporation, if you will. It is not like a one building. It is like one corporation that has multiple small buildings. Which, in that case, it really does make sense. Like, you don't want to become too big. You don't want your house to be too big to a point where it goes down. So if you were to divide the weight of the house, then your house wouldn't be able to fall down that hard. Or not even at all.
Franchising meant fewer actual assets and higher profits. Dunkin' started expanding internationally in 1970 when it opened its first overseas location in Japan. As of Q2 2019,
Dunkin'
there are over
Donuts.
12,800. As of Q 1970, when it.
Whoa! How in the world does Japan get all the good, cool looking donuts? Just freaking look at that. Like, this donut over here is like some kind of chocolate stuff on the inside, and then dark chocolate on the, like light milk chocolate on the outside, and then dark chocolate in the inside. And then this one over here is like some kind of, I guess, a jelly-filled donut. How can that? No fair. I have never seen anything like this before. And then they got these heart-shaped donuts right over there. No fair.
It opened its first overseas location in Japan. As of Q2 2019, there are over 12,800 Dunkin' locations in more than 40 countries. Dunkin' brands went public in 2011, selling around 400.
Now I want some donuts.
$123 million
Tridance.
shares. For comparison, Chipotle raised $193 million when it went public in 2006. When adjusted to 2011.
Wow. Okay, so in a way, Dunkin' Donuts came a little late. Try hard. Try dance. Oh, is he trying to make? Are you? I don't have emotes. What is try hard? The story behind Twitch's most something. Try hard is a Twitch streamer, I guess. Try hard. A Twitch TV emote used to represent a black person. Usually said to censor a word or a letter. Used by the chat to provoke a response from the streamer whenever they mention anything or mildly racist of any kind. Oh, that's the wrong one. But Dunkin' was around in the 80s, I think. Yeah, I think you're right, Epip.
$7. Then CEO Nigel Travis told CNBC the company would use profits from its IPO to expand west and internationally.
It means like hardcore.
And pay down
Oh,
its debt.
okay, I see
Analysts
now.
said the stock was overvalued.
When you try hard at a game and grind. Oh, okay, yeah. I do in fact play some Lumberjacks. I do play Lumberjacks Dynasty in the background. You know, like after I get done with the stream, I just want to go ahead and chill out, cut down a few trees, make crates of planks and stuff like that. You get the idea. Lumberjacks Dynasty is just like one of those chill out kind of games.
because its price hinged on the hope that Dunkin' would recreate its success in the Northeast across the rest of the country. At the time of the IPO, there was only one Dunkin' Donuts on the West Coast, in Portland, Oregon. The company has since expanded it.
Yeah, that game sounds poga. Yeah, it is cool. Yeah, it's definitely cool, Chubby. You should possibly play it. Nothing more manly than going down there with your chainsaw, cutting down a few trees, lifting up logs with your freaking bare hands, put them over your shoulder, and then you drop them down near your tractor, and put the logs into the log crate thing. It's just one of those things I would love to do, but you get what I mean.
Its West Coast presence, with 102 locations in California and 12 in Hawaii as of 20.
Epip says, in 1950, Bill Rosenberg opened the first Dunkin' Donuts restaurant in Quincy, Massachusetts. That's indeed true. We went through that in the beginning of the video.
But even as Dunkin' has pushed to grow its footprint west of the Mississippi and internationally,
Did anyone ever try that? Holy shnikes. It's a 3-layered, the coffee is 3-layered. They got what, I think this is the cream or the milk. And I think this over here is like the espresso, then I think this here is the foam. That 3 layers of coffee. 3 layers for the coffee. I wonder what's next for Dunkin' Donuts. Coffee capsules? Put what you want into the coffee. Yeah. Have the customer order their coffee, and then people would brew the coffee, and then they put the coffee inside pill form, and then when the pill form is being absorbed because of the inside people's mouths, just similar to a pill, except for it's just going to be like pot rocks, if you will, similar to pot rocks inside people's mouths. That could be the next thing. Coffee pills, that needs to be a thing.
With 624 locations as of December 2018.
I look at an idea and I look at a concept.
Well, maybe coffee pills is not a good idea.
That's what business is all about.
People become addicted.
And City National Bank gave us
because
the
of how
ability
easy
to
it is.
facilitate the financial needs to grow the business.
In 2018, after 70 years of Dunkin' Donuts, the restaurant dropped the donuts and became just Dunkin'.
We think about it less about dropping donuts than just leaning into Dunkin'. Dunkin' is what we're known as for almost 20 years. We've been America runs on Dunkin'.
Beverage sales make up almost 60% of Dunkin's revenue, so growth in the category is essential to the company's.
Oh, come on. So they're saying that Dunkin' Donuts would practically would no longer serve coffee. I mean, no longer serves donuts.
Overall health. In 2017, Dunkin' told Nation's Restaurant News that most stores would offer fewer than 20 different donuts. That was a big decrease.
Less than 20 different donuts? What the frick?
From the 30 varieties it typically offers. While Dunkin' has simplified its food offerings, it keeps adding to its coffee.
One Virian tablet contains about as much caffeine as a cup of coffee. Oh, yep, definitely a bad idea. Like you scratch the coffee pill idea. I thought that was going to be a thing in the future. But maybe we all are not ready for coffee pills yet.
Menu. For about 45 years, Dunkin's coffee offerings extended only to its original blend drip coffee, but in 1997, Dunkin decided to make a big push into the beverage market. That was the year it rolled out the coffee cooler.
What the? What the F word is that? I have never seen that in a Dunkin' Donuts where I live. Unless it's a relatively new one. Let me see that again.
Original blend drip coffee, but in 1997, Dunkin' decided to make a big push into the beverage market. That was the...
What the F word is that? Okay, judging by this, this thing here over here could be a strawberry drink. But jeez, that is a thick drink.
The year it rolled out the
See? I have never seen that in my entire life. Maybe not where I live. Strawberry slush coffee?
Coolada slush drink. In
Oh,
2000, the coffee Coolada slush drink.
Coolada slush... Coolada... Oh, okay, so it's a strawberry colada. Okay.
In 2000, Dunkin' started selling the blended Dunkachino, and by 2003, it began to offer espresso. Dunkin' relaunched its espresso lineup in 2018 with new machines, new recipes, and new training for employees. It's a move some say has a whole lot to do with Dunkin' angling to become a premier brand, on par with Starbucks.
I think that the initiative to modernize would absolutely come from their largest competitor, which is Starbucks, which has really reinvented what coffee means to consumers on a daily basis. So yeah, it's always good to kind of have a...
Yeah, sick, yeah.
You know, an arch enemy, if you will, out there, a bad guy, whatever you want to call them, because they force you to stay on your toes.
It seems to be working. Espresso sales for Dunkin' are on a tear. In its annual report for fiscal year 2018, Dunkin' US said it sells approximately 1.7 billion servings.
1.7 billion servings of hot coffee and iced coffee.
Of hot and iced coffee each year. And espresso accounts for about 10% of Dunkin's overall sales mix. The company reported sales of espresso-based beverages were up 40% in the second quarter of 2019 when compared to the year prior.
That move into the espresso beverages, this is a space that their key competitor really owned and had an advantage over them. Think about the length of an order that somebody might give a barista at a Starbucks, for example, versus just a cup of coffee at Dunkin'.
But Dunkin' can't just mimic Starbucks to succeed.
Yeah, it can't, because Dunkin' Donuts cannot really mimic Starbucks, because if it were the case, then it would feel like that Dunkin' Donuts would definitely be a Starbucks. People would say, why not go to Starbucks if we're going to go ahead and get coffee and things that are similar to Starbucks?
It needs to stay true to its brand. Dunkin' is all about a quick, affordable menu and making trends accessible to everyone. That's not necessarily a natural fit with espresso. So analysts warn that Dunkin' has to be careful about its move into espresso. Customers are typically suspicious when a brand tries to do something that doesn't feel authentic. But if Dunkin's espresso-based beverage sales so far are any indicator, this product could unlock big potential for the chain. However, coffee remains a crowded market, and Dunkin' is fighting for market share against some formidable opponents. Starbucks with its vast footprint, McDonald's with all-day breakfast, and the regional but beloved Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons, okay, that Tim Hortons is in Canada. I've been hearing stories about Tim Hortons. But we'll get to that at another point. But Krispy Kreme, definitely awesome. I love their donuts.
And Krispy Kreme. As of September 2019, Dunkin' has a $6.8 billion market cap, and its shares are up about 8% over the last 12 months. But it still has a ways to go to compete with giants like McDonald's and Starbucks, which have about a $167 billion and $115 billion market cap, respectively, as of September 2019. In fiscal year 2018, Dunkin' US's sales were also dwarfed by the competition. Dunkin' reported revenues of $606.8 million. McDonald's sales were more than 12 times that.
Whoa!
Starbucks brought in $16.7 billion in the Americas, which includes the US, Canada, and Latin America. Espresso is a premium product and typically costs more than other beverages. That means it pushes the average check price higher, which in turn makes
that's
it slow
true.
traffic because people are spending more when they do walk through the door. In 2018, a party's average check at Dunkin' was $8.05. That's higher than its Canadian competitor Tim Hortons, but lower than Starbucks. The most recent check averages don't include 2019 data, so it may be too soon to measure.
Okay, I remember quick and affordable. McDonald's used to have only about 10 things on the menu, and it took seconds to serve you a bag and food for $3. Oh, I remember those times too. Man, those were some good times. You could practically get anything for up to $5. You could practically get a lot of things for that much.
Measure Dunkin's revamped espresso lineup, which started to roll out
Those were the days.
2018. Dunkin' has long struggled with how to drive up afternoon foot traffic. It has extended cold beverage offerings and offered deals ranging from 2 bagels for $4 to $2 lattes.
The beverages in the morning, that's their core, and that's where the franchisees make their money. But as far as the afternoon business is concerned, the Dunkin' Run and the Go-Tos, a lot of times those promotions, if they are on beverages, they're usually after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, the afternoon run seems to be stabilizing the afternoon business.
Dunkin' Brands has also tried and arguably
Ice
failed
cream?
at using ice cream to drum up afternoon sales. Baskin-Robbins and Dunkin' are both operated under Dunkin' Brands, but Baskin hasn't performed as well as Dunkin'. Its sales growth has been lackluster. From 2007 up until it changed course in 2011, the chain posted negative annual comparable store sales. Baskin-Robbins again posted negative same-store sales for the fiscal year 2018. Analysts say Baskin might not be adding much in sales to the brand, but it's not really dead weight either. A dual store with both a Baskin and a Dunkin' is attractive to some franchisees to boost sales outside the morning coffee rush. A dual store costs as little as $10,000 more to open than a standalone Dunkin' and doesn't require extra workers or machinery.
I look at an idea.
Okay, I think I remember where I lived, and I definitely seen something of the sort, but it was a different kind of place. I think it was Carnival, I remember.
Yeah, and I look at a concept, and I say, okay, how do we make it a reality? That's what business is all about. And City National Bank gave us the ability to facilitate the financial needs to grow the business.
Dunkin' is also trying to keep...
Just a sec, everyone. I want to check to see how much likes I got. I'm curious. Okay, let's see. Okay, somehow I got a dislike. So I can only assume that this randomness day must have hit someone where it hurts. I have no clue. Or maybe I don't know much about coffee to give my input. Oh man, okay.
Keep up with change in the fast food industry by testing plant-based meat and a partnership with
Plant-based meat. Okay, that's good.
Grubhub in some locations.
The online ordering system now is much more robust, and our guests can get products anytime they want, anywhere they want. And we're living in a culture now of everything being on demand. Now you can get your coffee on demand.
Dunkin' started offering Beyond Meat's sausage in Manhattan, and the company says it's selling well.
Okay, so that's a Beyond Meat sandwich. Heck with that. Yeah, you're right, Ed, but the heck with that. And it looks like is that Dunkin' Donuts has a thing called, what was it called?
The company says it's selling well and drawing repeat customers to Dunkin'. Dunkin' started offering Beyond Meat's
Beyond Meat, non-meat meat isn't meat. Yeah, so they're definitely trying to one-up the Impossible Whopper.
sausage in Manhattan, and the company says it's selling well and drawing repeat customers to Dunkin'. Dunkin' has been testing delivery through partnerships with Grubhub, DoorDash, and other local companies. It plans to expand the partnership with Grubhub to other major cities in the U.S.
Consistency of experience. It's not a big deal when you're ordering from a mom and pop pizza or taco.
Yeah, consistency, it doesn't matter in a mom and pop store because mom and pop shops are amazing. But when it comes to these big companies, yeah. I guess consistency for these big companies, that is definitely a must.
Taco place, but for us, the consistency is really important.
But there are unique challenges in delivering coffee. Experts say Dunkin' and other cafes might not be a natural fit for delivery because coffee has to maintain its temperature to be appealing. Think watery iced coffee or a room temperature latte. It's also betting big on store format. Part of that $100 million cash injection went toward the rollout of an entirely new kind of Dunkin' shop. It's a layout called the Next Generation Store, and Dunkin' hopes it will modernize the brand's image and keep it relevant to the next generation of customers. Dunkin' plans to add...
Okay, what the frick? I am old school, everyone. I am totally old school. How does that even work? When I was, during the times that I worked in McDonald's, I have seen some people use their phones to pay for things, like, you know, like, they use their phone like a credit card thing. But they... Okay, so all you have to do is just show your phone right in front and get this lady over here to scan that code thing. Okay, so how does that work exactly? Did you order the stuff online and then you go ahead and pick it up? And then you have to use that? How does that work? One thing, I have been in Montreal, in Georgia, and Michigan, and Ohio, and all McDonald's all taste alike. Yeah, definitely consistency is a thing. Man, to me, this is like freaking Star Trek right here. Freaking paying for things by using your phone.
Customers.
Yeah, me and you both, Epic, we're old school. We have cash on hand or swipe our credit cards.
Dunkin' plans to add 200 to 250 net new restaurants a year for 3 years, starting in 2019.
It completely changes the way the customer interacts with our crews. There's nothing between the crews and the customers, so the customers can now engage with our crews and ask questions and learn about the product.
Dunkin' says the new store is slightly more expensive than previous remodels because there's more technology in this design. The company didn't disclose the cost of the new layout to CNBC.
The returns are actually very exciting and better than the previous iterations. So working very closely with our franchisees, we've gotten to a place that we feel very good, both sides, on the investment that they'll be making for this next-gen transformation.
Next-gen stores are also a big part of Dunkin's push to digital ordering. Mobile ordering
for people that don't have cash or cards. Oh.
Is another area where Starbucks has Dunkin' beat. About 4% of orders at Dunkin' are made through mobile phones. At Starbucks, the number is closer to 16%. Experts are optimistic that the next-gen store will improve that metric. The designs have a larger space for people who are picking up online orders.
And the next-gen store has an
more
bigger
expensive,
area dedicated
yeah,
to this. And we're seeing probably, twice the average percentage of on-the-go orders through the next-gen stores, which is tremendous.
Some of the new stores also have a dedicated mobile lane in the drive-thru. That should help prevent bottleneck issues.
Okay, so this, what it's saying here, it is similar to a toll road. Like, you all know how it is. Like, you have one lane that goes to the easy pass. it's like the same thing. This mobile lane is the easy pass lane. Well, you have everyone else here paying the toll.
Issues like the ones seen in some Starbucks when the company added mobile ordering in 2017. Next-gen stores also have an 8-tap system for cold drinks, just like the donut cases.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts has beer taps for coffee.
It's all about getting products in front of customers to increase how much they spend. With drinks on tap, crew members function more like bartenders than baristas.
Bartenders, quick on their feet, they know your name, they know how to sample drinks, but most importantly, they're great at...
Yeah, that's exactly what Starbucks should be doing too. Make yourselves familiar with the community. And freaking learn people's names. And stuff like that. And you'll be surprised how much people would go back to a place because they feel that they belong in that place. 8 taps and no beer. Nope, no beer.
It's serving the customer.
I don't think Dunkin' Donuts have licenses to buy beer. I don't think they have the license to sell beer or to have beer in their stores in general, because that would require a pretty darn expensive license to get.
As of 2019, customers rated the barista expertise at Dunkin' at a 90 out of 100. Starbucks scored at 94 out of 100, while McDonald's was lower at 78. In its next-gen stores, Dunkin' hopes that number will go up. Dunkin' has been a reliable brand throughout its existence, growing at a slow and steady rate. It hasn't had any major scandals like some of its competitors.
Starbucks closes more than 8,000 U.S. cafe for racial bias training.
And its franchisee relationship is strong. So how has Dunkin' maintained solid and steady growth? One expert says it all comes down to loyalty. Dunkin' ranks pretty high in satisfaction, slightly below Starbucks, but above McDonald's, according to the American Consumer.
That may explain why I have never been there. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Satisfaction Index. But if satisfaction is a moment in time, loyalty tells the future. And it is a metric where Dunkin' shines. For the 13 years through 2019, Dunkin' has ranked #1 in consumer loyalty in the out-of-home coffee provider category. In the packaged coffee category, it's been #1 for 8 years. That's no easy task in a field as competitive as coffee. Robert Pasikoff, whose firm measures consumer loyalty, says having highly loyal customers ensures that they'll come back again and again and again.
When we look at all of the metrics against all of the drivers, against all the expectations, is up at about 95%. That's pretty good. You look at someone like Starbucks, and they are a little bit lower.
And loyalty is valuable to a brand for more than just its bottom line. Loyal customers are more likely to buy products associated with the brand, recommend the brand to others, and invest in publicly traded stocks.
Hence why it's like the old saying goes, how in the world must say it? The more happier the person is, the more likely they'll come back and tell people about the place. Like, for instance, you can go up to a person saying, "Oh, my OMG, I went to Six Flags. You gotta go there sometime."
Despite low traffic and intense coffee competition, Dunkin' is betting that new logos, sparkling espresso machines, and trendy partnerships will be enough to help it grow up.
Yeah, keep it on fleek. Okay. Okay, that was pretty darn interesting. Okay. Okay, what is this? Espresso martini made 2 ways. Okay, I gotta put this one. There you go.
Oi, bartender, give me something to wake me up and then fuck me up. That's my Kate Moss impression. Was it on the money? Not even close? No? Is she more posh? Excuse me, bartender, could you give me something that will wake me up and then fuck me up? Would that be more appropriate for a Kate? What accent she has at the moment is fluid. So today on How to Drink, we're tackling the espresso martini, and as you can see here, I've
Absinthe.
got my espresso machine. But I don't want you to be dissuaded. I don't want you to think that we're only doing this drink in a way that requires you to have an espresso machine. I'm actually going to make it two different ways. We're going to do Dick Bradsell's original. We're also going to make Jeff Morgenthaler's version, and that one involves the use of a cold brew concentrate. The espresso martini was invented by London bartender Dick Bradsell in the late 80s. He always said that it was invented
when a young model who's now famous came in and said, "Can you make me a drink that will wake me up and then..."
Oh, this is... Oh, I see now. This is spiked coffee. This is spiked coffee. You put alcohol in the drink. Yeah, it is similar to a prank that was done back in my day. And that is that you have these people who was hiding liquor inside their coats, their pants, or whatever. And then when no one's looking, they freaking open up those bottles of beer, and then they just pour it in, and then they mix it around to make sure none of the bubbles show up, and then people will drink it, and they would get drunk.
Everywhere online I'm looking seems to be reporting that it was Kate Moss. He was not one to kiss and tell, so I don't know where that information comes from. It does seem to be that everybody is settled on Kate Moss. Maybe it's Kate Moss. I don't know. Dick Bradsell gets a lot of credit for being kind of one of the godfathers or forerunners of like the cocktail reviver of the early 2000s. Not that he was directly involved, but in the drinks, even in the 80s, that he was making in a time when everybody was making Alabama Slammers and Bahama Mamas and like bad drinks. He was making stripped down drinks that were focused on balance and fundamentals. And even here in the espresso martini, you will find that that is the case. This is a great drink. We're going to need to make some espresso. And to do that, I gotta heat up my machine. So while that's heating up, I wanna talk a little bit about coffee liqueur. The granddaddy of coffee liqueurs is Kahlua, and I'm gonna have a little taste of that here. There are other coffee liqueurs on the market. I think that most people would agree that Kahlua and Tia Maria are relatively interchangeable. There's one bottle that I really love, actually, the Mr. Black Cold Brew Coffee. And you're gonna see a lot of people talking about this lately because this stuff's really kind of taken the world by storm. It's wonderful shit. And I just want to point out the differences. The Kahlua is more clear. The Mr. Black is a little cloudier, more like real coffee. Maybe it's a little bit less filtered. The Kahlua, it is coffee syrup, honestly. I mean, it's alcoholic. You get a little bit of that, but it really just tastes like a coffee.
Okay, pouring 151 rum in the punch bowl has been around since the 30s. Oh, that is so true, Epip. I forgot how old that prank was.
Coffee syrup. And the Mr. Black? Concentrated black coffee flavors and alcohol. I don't think there's any sugar in this. If there is, it's minimal. It's not to the point where it tastes sweet. It would just be there to kind of marry flavors. So that's my point. I would say that unless it specifies otherwise, a drink that calls for coffee liqueur is probably built around Kahlua, and that Kahlua is pretty sweet. So if you're going to use something other than Kahlua, that's a great idea. Nothing wrong with that. I would just add back that sweetness. I have to make my own version of The More You Know.
Cue the music and that star thing.
The more you drink. Talk about espresso first off. This is not really an episode about espresso, but it's hard to make espresso without explaining what espresso is. Espresso comes from the pressure. It's not espresso. It's not real fast. It's espresso. Real pressured, high pressure. And so to make espresso, what you really need is a pump capable of pushing to a minimum of 8 bars or 8 atmospheres of pressure. This is a Breville Barista
That's high pressure.
Express I did a ton of research before buying this thing. I got it on Amazon for actually less than 500 bucks. It is 15 bar pump with a thermo block, so it's not a double boiler. I'd love a double boiler for those of you who know what that means. I love the way that the drip tray works. I love that there's a secret drawer back here for your tools and cleaning supplies. The fact that it includes a perfectly serviceable espresso grinder is phenomenal. If I was gonna spend more for an espresso machine to get a better feature set, I would have to probably spend a lot more. I'd have to go to like $1,500, and at that point, I'm probably gonna buy a Rocket Departamento and a separate grinder as opposed to this. This thing is...
Okay. The guy is basically saying that if he wants to have like a better espresso that has like more features and stuff like that, he would practically going to need to make a rocket. He would rather buy a rocket than buy like about a $1,500 espresso machine. Well, I'm serious, and that espresso must be out of this world for for that to happen.
Until you're going to spend a big chunk of change. I mean, yes, of course, under $500 for a coffee maker is crazy, but if you're into espresso, it's not. So the mechanics of how espresso is made is that you've got a pump in here and a PID temperature controller and all that stuff. So your water gets hot, and then your water is...
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I think I did copy the link. Okay. Okay.
Oi.
Alright. Give me a sec, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and go on over to, let's go over to this thing real quick. Let me see. I'll put it here. Okay. There we go. As you all can see, everyone, I am giving people credit for their videos and stuff like that. So if you all want to go ahead and look at the videos or subscribe to them and stuff like that, it's right there in the description. There we go. Alright everyone, it looks like this is going to be it for today's randomness day. But I'm hoping that you all have yourselves a good time. And tomorrow, I think I'll go ahead and play a game tomorrow. Because even though I'm starting to like doing these random topic streams where we look at random things. I just gotta figure out what would be the next random thing that I want to do. What would be the next random thing? Maybe... Yes. Okay. Well, maybe the next time we do these randomness day streams, we'll look up swords. I'll possibly going to do a randomness day about swords. Because a lot of them are awesome looking. And then you got this guy who reforges swords, weapons, and stuff like that from anime to video games and stuff like that, which is totally awesome. So anyways, have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.